Welcome, everybody, to the People of the Future channel. I'm really excited to have you here. My name is Dallas. I'm the host of this channel. People of the Future is a Common Healing production, and Common Healing is an experiment, a playground of creating liberation where we are through world building. If you're liking this series, enjoying these episodes, be sure to subscribe, like, and share with us. Follow on our other platforms because we will continue creating content that empowers you, gets you thinking of new ideas, and ultimately is amazing conversation starters for the people you're building worlds with. At Common Healing, the three anchors, myself, Annalise, and P, all identify as artists. While we love creating and we love what we do, we also recognize the hardship we face. At Common Healing, the three anchors, myself, P, and Annalise, all identify as creatives and artists. While we love this about ourselves, we also recognize the hardship we all experience in trying to build what we love and explore our passions in this world. Phrases like starving artist, the idea of the superstars we know who are caught up and trapped in exploitative deals with record labels and or their family. The capitalist industries that we consume culture and art from often exploit the very artists they need to be the industries they are. The status quo of the world of art right now is extremely racially oppressive, riddled with gender violence, and exclusionary, and so hard to build a healthy life in. So, how do creative people thrive in a world like that? Is it possible to? And if we're not able to thrive, what do we do? Enter Refraction, combining the use of NFTs, digital and in-person exhibition space, festival space, and event space. Refraction is creating a community of artists that uplift other creatives and hold maintaining agency at the core of their work. In these next few episodes, Greg Liburd will take us through how he got into the Web3 space and the ways he sees blockchain, decentralized autonomous organizations, and the overall Web3 space as being a tool for empowering artists to maintain creative agency and be compensated for how they create.
Sure. My name is Greg Liburd. I'm here in Brooklyn, and I got into refraction through a little bit of a circuitous route, but more or less, I used to be a writer and wrote for screenwriting and for magazines, and eventually that got me into advertising as a copywriter and then eventually as a creative director. So when I was doing that, I was more on the interactive side of things, and eventually was lucky enough to have some really awesome clients. But the one that I did the most work on was Nike Jordan to be specific. And that's when we start to do things like build up their community and look at ways that we could connect digitally. And this was a little bit at the beginning of that phase. You know, people are just starting to use mobile a lot. People are starting to use social media a lot. And we were trying to create ways to connect to these fans that were extremely passionate about the brand and what it stood for, and sort of noticed that that was challenging, just because of the way things were set up. And I did I played street ball 3 times a week when I first moved to New York, and you could see sort of a disconnect between sometimes what we were trying to do as a brand, and even though we were creating new ways, new interactive ways to um, communicate and to get engagement, it was sort of challenging. So eventually, when I had my tenure in digital marketing and everything, started doing startup work, and that led me to different technologies and ways of connecting to people, and those were some of the things that I was trying to build. That also led me to the, at the time it was blockchain more than anything, and it started to be, when I was looking at it and designing solutions and working with developers, that there were a lot of things that you could do with what is now Web3, like on chain, that could be very beneficial to the goals of trying to communicate with people, trying to give them agency and interacting them with interacting with them in ways that we really hadn't done or been able to do through more traditional mechanisms. And that got me really excited when I got into all of it. I got, like, I started trading just to understand that. I got into cryptography, and the idea that you could and you didn't have a gap between, or a middle person between you and the people or the community that you're trying to build or be in touch with, to me was really appealing. And I started looking at this not only from my professional perspective, but also because I was involved and still trying to be involved with activism through Black Lives Matter. And as we had one of the longest running, actually, it was the longest running protest in a standing protest in New York. And we are trying to, again, look at ways that we could raise resources and run communities that was not reliant on centralized platforms and everything. That was a little bit antithetical to what we were trying to do.
I really love this introduction and getting this image of Greg playing streetball. It was nice and human to see the wisdom he got from his recreation into his job and what the barriers were at the time when he was working for Nike Jordan. I think about how we can do more assessing like that in all of our spaces and how we do it often subconsciously or unconsciously, creating those connections and learning the barriers. Our brains are great at mapping patterns and figuring out the puzzle pieces. And with what Greg shared from his introduction, I'm offering our first journal prompt. As you know, at People of the Future, we are reflecting constantly to build that world we're looking for. So your journal prompt is this: who is or who makes up the community you're trying to build this world with, or that you are a part of? What barriers are in the way, if there are any barriers, specifically the ones that keep you all from building the agency you need to thrive and really invest in what you're passionate about and what you care about? Take some time. We've got a beautiful image coming up for you, and then we'll get back to the discussion with Greg.
And also through art. And what I was seeing is uh, this was an opportunity for artists to actually have significant resources and sustainable careers. And I still believe that, that's true. I know that it's a bear market, and sometimes it's hard not to get swept up in the, or the FTX scandal or whatever things are happening, whatever the new thing has happened by the time this airs. Because sometimes people look at the kind of entire environment, but I think that it's an easy equivalency is to say that it's like the internet. Like the internet had a bunch of bad things at the beginning, and has bad things now, but it also changed the way that we do business. It also changed the way that we communicate and socialize. It's provided opportunities in countries that didn't have resources that weren't there before. So, um, in parallel to this, one of my co-founders was, we were talking about working on a project together, and in this new world, this new on-chain cryptographically enabled world, and got into the idea of um, whether it was around tools for creators or opportunities for creators to express themselves through what ended up being a festival, which is the Refraction Festival. that's what we landed on. And then there was another founder that he had known for a long time, Raf, and who'd worked at Vice for a long time. And also keeping in mind, Malcolm had done an amazing festival called New Forms in Vancouver that really was a groundbreaking festival with different types of media and different types of performance, and sort of merging art and technology in a way that hadn't been done before. And he also curated the first digital exhibition for the Olympics in Vancouver. So, and Raf had worked at Vice for 17 years, and everything from editorial to uh, creative, and working in mixed media, whether it was doing video content and everything else. So we sort of decided to join forces around Refraction, first as a festival and venue, and now expanding out to a community of artists and creators and producers who all are united in a mission to uplift and empower creatives and give them agency over their work and their creative expression. And then getting us to today was we were lucky enough to be in the third cohort of Seed Club, which is the preeminent incubator accelerator, and that was amazing at doing what it, as advertised. It really helped support and accelerate what we're doing, and get us into the space. So now we're at a point where we do these exhibitions all over the world. We're doing one, for example, in Art Basel, where we're going to have 2 days in one location with 60 plus visual artists and some really leading, interesting musical talent is going to be performing. Folks who are, it's for the heads out there. It's for the people who know what's up, and who's really creating new energy around music. And so we'll do 2 days there. We'll do another day at the planetarium out there, and it's a really interesting opportunity to bring in community and to sort of celebrate the space in a way that's tangible. That we're out there, even though we have a DAO, and we're an internet native organization. The way that manifests is through real things like the exhibitions and events. We do NFT drops. For example, we just dropped our membership pass, which uses 6 of our really incredible artists, and then we also do creative grants and take some of the revenue that we get through the events and funnel it directly back to the creators and artists.
I'm so excited to have Greg Liburd being our first outside of Common Healing Space guest. It was really an honor to speak with him. I learned so much, and as you keep sticking around for these conversations with him, I think you will too. He ends on this point of funneling wealth back into the artist community and being able to do that through Web3, how this world of connection was opened up to him. And I want you all to think back to your journal prompt. What ways are those connections opening up? What new area, new technology, or even old technology might help you better build the world you seek? At Common Healing, we really believe that self-sustenance, that funneling wealth back, is so necessary for our liberation. How do we feed ourselves, our communities, take care of each other? We're learning more and more of this with Greg and in the entire world building and people of the future conversations. So be sure to subscribe if you want to continue these conversations with yourself, with us, and with the people you love and care about. Check out Refraction, learn more about it. That's your homework for next episodes. If you're a creative, you'll want to sign up for that membership they have on their website. All links are below. We hope you enjoy and come back for next episodes with Greg.